Good morning, everybody. This is going to be a little bit different morning intro. We're at Gulliver in Sweden, and it rained all last night, although we're on pretty hard surface here. Train station nearby, but very quiet electric trains, and there were just a couple of cars last night, very innocent. So, we left Norway, and we ended up here at Abisko at the national park night before last. Yesterday we came down along the E10. We were going to stay at Kiruna. It's a very huge mining area, huge to the point that the iron mine is actually moving the city. They're rebuilding it because they're encroaching and they need to continue mining. Anyway, it was very gritty. I shouldn't say gritty. It was just not where we wanted to stay, let's put it that way. So we continued on down the E10, E45, and jumped over, there we are, to Gulliver, where we are right now. The plan for today is we're going to continue on. We're going to Finland. It's going to take 2 days to get to Helsinki, and God, the windows are fogging up. That's the morning update. So Sweden is getting remarkably more beautiful as we go south. It's a great little rest stop here. Service the van, and roaring rapids. So the rain has let up. We've been driving just about an hour since we left our park up, and the roads are drying out, and it's actually nice. The pavement conditions very good, very smooth. Going through a birch forest. There's been a little mixed growth before. With some type of coniferous, some pine perhaps, and might be a very nice travel day. Very wide river with just a large amount of rapids. Maybe we'll get a break here. It's kind of calmed down, but it's really roaring. It's going to go into the Bay of Bothnia. Maybe we'll get another vantage here. A little bit. Boy, it was screaming earlier. Well, our original plan when we left Norway and crossed over into Sweden was that we would simply drive south in Sweden on the major roads down to Stockholm, which is kind of our next touring area. And then once we got to thinking about it, we also wanted to go to Helsinki, and so if we went to Stockholm first and then to Helsinki and back, there was a lot of extra driving. So instead, we've crossed over into Finland, and we won't make Helsinki today. As a matter of fact, we've still got 6 hours to go, and it's noon because we just lost an hour. In any case, we're gonna 2 days to Helsinki. Probably find some place to park the van in a campground, and then we'll use public transportation. Do some touring there, and then maybe a ferry to Estonia. Depends on how many days and how easy the ferry is. kind of back on the original itinerary, Stockholm, and then to Denmark. So that's the plan update. Well, between road closures and cell outages and road closures and not understanding the Finnish language, we spent about 2 hours trying to figure out how to go where we can go. And while we're on our detour, look, I think that's a church. Oh my goodness, up on the curb. Good thing we have ground clearance. This is almost silly. Pedestrians. Oh my God, are you kidding? Sometimes you just gotta laugh when you're traveling. Does the bridge look familiar? That's right, folks. You know, the thing about van life, and if you're really out exploring and going to places you've never been and places that few would traverse, you've got to expect some real surprises. And there is one of the major roads that runs north-south right along the coast in Finland that's closed until September. And they don't have big roads that, you know, parallel each other. They just crisscross the country because it's just full of lakes and bodies of water and ponds. And so we've got to go hours out of our way to get around this closure, and we researched everything that was possible. Until you're down to these teeny tiny roads that wouldn't gain anything and would probably get you stuck because the map data's not right. So 3:08 in the afternoon, the GPS says we'll arrive by 11 p.m. tonight, but of course, you know, we'll throw in the towel well before then, although who knows, it may be light still. So back across the silly bridge, we'll have more later. And if you look up here where that little car just pulled in, that's where we had lunch. Was that where we had lunch?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 hours ago. All part of the adventure. And if you can't roll with it and have fun, don't play. This might be our park up for tonight.
Okay, the next driveway on your left. Animals cannot swim on the beach, or swim in the lake.
Mm. I guess the fish didn't get the memo.
I don't know.
Oh, it is.
Not a good idea.
Woof. Son of a bitch.
Was it really wet?
Yeah, we were sinking in.
Oh, you're kidding.
No. No, I don't.
What do you think?
Well, we have to go forward.
How deep is that?
Oh, no, 4 inches. But it's soft. That's soft out there too.
Are we leaving or what are we doing?
I don't know. I'm at least getting in a position where we're not in soft.
We could stay up there
Up.
by that little tiny shed.
Yeah?
We could if
Good morning, everybody. It is the 18th. It's Thursday. We're in Finland. We don't know where we are. We're only partially sure how we got here. We almost were going to camp by a lake until the mud was scary and it rained all last night, so now we're up closer to the road. We're going back the way we came. We're trying to get to... What's the big city? In Finland?
Oh, Helsinki.
Helsinki. You should know that. Road closures. Debbie spent a tremendous amount of time translating and being on websites for road closures. The Garmin hasn't rerouted us yet, so we'll see what happens when we move.
Oh, it's just little pins.
Oh, one of them quit working, so I had to fit and threw it away. Anyway, instead of a lost day, we're considering yesterday touring Finland, and we'll see what today brings. Okay, we think we're on our way again. Was a very nice place to stay. I don't even think the animals made noise. Yeah, I actually had to get out of the car, out of the van yesterday and walk the road because the potholes were full of water and they were big and I couldn't tell how deep they were in the van, so I had to go out and do the reconnoiter. And they were shallow, but boy, as soon as we started to go through the narrow part, the rear end started to slide out and down and you just got soft. So, oh, look at this. Dead end. You know, we did Scotland, we did Lofoten, we did all these places. It may be Finland that kicks our butt. This is highly sketchy. Here's the update, ladies and gentlemen. We just passed a section of the roadway here that was closed on the right-hand side, both lanes. The solution was that they routed you on the other side of the divide, and there was one lane traffic both ways for about, oh, I don't know, 400 feet. So I think we spent a whole day yesterday chasing alternate routes because, in fact, this road was, this lane of this road, both lanes of this road were closed with an available detour that apparently Garmin didn't know about, wasn't told, and couldn't figure out. So we're on our way. So this is the end of like day 2.5 in Finland. We're about 2/3 of the way south from where we crossed in from Sweden into Finland. We're heading for Helsinki, and it was going to be about a 3-day drive. And yesterday, the GPS says, you know, road such and such is closed, rerouting, and it did, and then we started to go that way, and then we stopped and we tried to figure it out, and then we got our phones out, we put the routes in, and it didn't say anything about a road closure until you started to drive, and then it did. So then we turned around again. We're off a highway, we were working off of Highway 4 from Highway 8, and we went up and down that road 30-45 miles, something like that, 3 times. And then, so we're finally going to do the detour that Garmin assigned on it. And it got late, so okay, well, we're going to stop. We found a park up on Park for Night that was right at the lake's edge. That was all really good until we realized that the lake is swollen, like ready to burst over its banks. We have, hello.
Hello.
Well, that was the ad hoc little, so where were we? Yeah, so the road closures. So we're at the park up, and as we drive down by the water's edge, the back end starts to slip off the road and it starts to sink. And man, I'm on the throttle, and we get out, and then we turn around, and then the weather is supposed to be very rainy. So we got back out, went up to the top of the hill, parked overnight. It was very wonderful, very quiet. This morning, there was a great debate. Do we do the detour or do we go back on our planned route? Because there's a big highway, and we couldn't understand why it's still closed. So we did. And in fact, the southbound lane of 4 was closed. Bridges were out, but there was a detour. So the equivalent of the Department of Transportation for Finland posts on the internet and the services the road's closed. They don't post the detour, the reroute. So that was good. Now we've been fighting a check engine light in the van since Baltimore, and it's code P0128, which is warm-up time longer than expected. And before we put the van on the boat in Baltimore, we got a new thermostat, because that's usually what it is. And it was a new thermostat that was in there that I did when we did the major maintenance before we left. And I've been driving around with it, clearing the code almost, every other day. So I got tired of that. So here it was the perfect work vibe. So up on the ramp, drop the coolant, change the thermostat, put it back together. Tomorrow we'll tell the story. The winds died down a little bit. So we're at a harbor in a great campsite. I'm trying to hide from the blinding sun. So we've got, I think there's 8 spaces. It's 10 euros a night, another 5 euros if you want the electrical hookup. And while I was worried, it took 2 hours to do all the coolant work, thermostat change. People were coming over, they were very concerned. It was so nice. Been quite a couple of days, and I had a nice hot shower, just finished dinner. I'm going to turn the camera around. It's probably about 8:30 right now. So, God, you couldn't ask for a better evening. Blue sky, not a cloud, light breeze. So one thing about having that dark front end is it hides in the shadows. So there we are. There's another Ducato next to us. There's a couple class C's or B pluses. It's going to be a very nice night.